And I'm getting emotional because you don't even know the real pain I've gone through in life. It's okay. We don't need to wipe them off. We're good. They say a diamond doesn't form unless there's a lot of pressure. Well, most of the time though, people don't want to be the diamond. They just want to be the piece of coal. Yeah. And they don't like the pressure. People don't realize is, man, the enemy attacks. And when the enemy attacks, it'll discourage you and break you down to a level that you don't know even remotely possible. You are designed for a purpose by Christ. When Jesus was carrying the cross, he fell down 3 times. He got whipped, he got beat. He was carrying a heavy burden. But at the end of the day, he had to get up and carry his cross to finally fill his end purpose. And he knew his purpose was to die, knowing that a storm is temporary, knowing that you're gonna experience pressure. But if you can embrace the journey and embrace the pressure, it all will be worth it in the end. You will be that diamond. I can't believe you're 20 years old and you're sitting here asking me these questions. It's so surreal right now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Peace in the Storm podcast. I'm your host, Andelina Storm. Today we're gonna do something a bit differently. We're gonna have a guest on. Let me introduce him. This is my dad.
How you doing, Andelina?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm excited to be here. First of all, I can't believe, if you'd have told me when you were a little girl, when you were first born, and it kind of changed our life, and your mom and I know this, how you'd be now interviewing me on a podcast, and I'm looking up to one, not to be as a proud father, but just proud to be a part of your journey. It's like the best gift a father could ever get. So thank you for giving me the honor and the privilege to even be on your podcast and be your first guest.
Yes, I'm very excited today. There's so much that I've learned from you and so many ways you've helped me grow and become the person I'm supposed to be today. So I'm really excited to let people know a bit about your story and a bit about why I'm so inspired by you. So let's get into it. For the first question I want to ask you today, I want to ask, when did you first realize God was using your story to guide mine?
To guide yours, well, when I first heard God's voice, it's kind of crazy. Your generation might not know what a big wheel is, but it's a little kind of like you guys would know it as a tricycle, but it was like it's kind of hard to explain. There was no power. You had to pedal it. Big wheel in the front, little side wheels in the back. You thought you're driving like a motorcycle, a poor man's motorbike, right? You know what I mean? So I lived in a condo, 800 square foot condo with obviously Nani, and I was driving around in my garage because she would never let me go on the road. There's no cars in there. And I just kept hearing this voice in my head saying, you were meant for something different. You were meant for something different. You were meant for something different. And I didn't know at the time what it meant, but we lived in very modest. I mean, your grandmother made $18,000 a year. Obviously, my dad left when I was so young. He was addicted to alcohol. The world doesn't know that I changed my last name to Grossi in honor of my grandfather and my mom when I was 18. My last name was Loomis. But I think that was the first time that I was trying to break the seed of my family. I don't want to call it the family curse because I don't believe it was a curse. But it was the first time I heard a voice saying I was going to be meant to do something different.
Yeah, so your backstory is obviously a very powerful story. So before we address the rest of the question, tell me a little bit more. Well, obviously I know, but everyone else, a little bit more about your backstory and why there was such a pull for you to turn the pain that you had felt as a kid into something purposeful.
When I was a kid, I guess I didn't realize it was a pain. I just saw what my mom was going through. And I saw what other people around me were going through, where I was just this naive kid. I just lived and loved life. I don't care what anyone says. My sisters and brothers know I was my mom's favorite, so life was pretty easy for me. But even I would always learn, and I'd be, even though I was really hyper and crazy and bouncing off couches, ask your mom's mom, and I was the most obnoxious kid in the world, but I just had this energy and this flow to me that I just believed I was meant for something different and God had a different calling me. I didn't know it was God's calling me. I just had this different vibe. And so I'd always watch what other people were doing. I was always watching their struggles and their pain, and I just knew I didn't want to do that. I know I didn't want to ever worry about money again. So I had to say, well, what could I do to maybe take away that? Or I knew that, this is going to sound crazy. I didn't want to be a deadbeat dad. I didn't want to be that dad that was just, I drank because my dad drank, and, I did this because my dad did this, or, I left my family because my dad left my family. Now, the crazy part is I didn't know what it meant to even be a father, even though I had my grandfather, but I just knew that I had to be something different. And so I would always study and watch, and I'd always surround myself with, okay, that's who I want to be like, or that's what I want to do. And one of the craziest decisions I ever made, and I'll never forget my dad, when I was 26, when my dad left when I was 3, and when I was 26, I kind of rekindled with him again. And he asked me the question after I was in dental school. He goes, what did you do that was so different than what I did? I said, it's really simple. I said, you would laugh because you know this. Remember the wrist that says, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
We used to wear those around our wrists. What would Jesus do? And I always say, what would my dad do? And I did the polar opposite. And I always based my decisions on what he didn't do. So I think that just growing up, I knew what I didn't want to be more than what I wanted to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I knew what I did not want to have in my life versus what I didn't want to have. And I think most people in life, they know a lot of what they don't want. They just don't know how to get there, right? And so I think the one thing I'd always challenge you, and I want to challenge everybody that's listening to this or hearing this, is that you might not know the plan. You might not know how you're going to get there, but you do know what you don't want. Mm-hmm. So if you can focus on what you don't want and go the other direction, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the right path.
Hey guys, I have a free Peace in the Storm journal for you guys to help you guys write down the storms you're going through and combat that through scripture and through different coping mechanisms. You can find it below in the show notes. Obviously, yes, that is a very powerful testament. And when you were talking about how your thing is I want to do exactly what my dad didn't do. I feel like that leads into the second part of the question, which was how your story was used to guide mine. I think you made it your purpose to be the father you didn't have and to give me the opportunities you didn't. So if you, could expand a little bit on that, maybe without crying. You know what? It's okay.
Actually, I'm just going to be real. So if I cry, I cry.
I'm just kidding. Jesus wept.
Well,
vulnerability is a story.
First and foremost, I'll just say this on a podcast. I would never be the man I am without your mom, period. Mm-hmm. Hard stop. It doesn't matter. You need people in your life. And I'm getting emotional because you don't even know the real pain I've gone through in life. It's okay. We don't need to wipe them off. We're good. Let the tears flow. Look from the moment, I even decided I want to be a dentist, the sacrifice that it's not me. I'm on this podcast. You're looking at me like, oh my God, my dad's in the forefront of the family. And oh my God, I look up to him. There's so many things that have to go right in life to even for it to work out. You don't know the story of when I'm in dental school and I'm running around and, I'm sleeping 2 hours a day for 4 years, your mom working, 2 or 3 jobs to pay the bills and hiding the bills from me so I don't see them. And she's paying little bills as they come and hoping to survive one day that we finally get to the finish line. You didn't know the times of every time, I failed in an exam of $150,000 in student loan debt, hoping one day that I'm going to make it, because what people don't realize is, man, the enemy attacks. And when the enemy attacks, it'll discourage you and break you down to a level that you don't know even remotely possible. And you had I remember the podcast I watched before, you talked about your friend Sydney, and obviously I know Sydney, but you talk about having that friendship or that cornerstone in your life. And, my rock was your mom. My rock always has been your mom. And so she was my why. And then, she kind of built me up, right? But once I figured out, okay, I thought life was about me early on. It's about when I get through this. I remember talking to other people when I get through this, man, I'm going to be the man, and I'm going to make $300,000 a year, and I'm going to break the curse of my family. Now it's funny when I say that, but that's all I thought about was, how do I win? How do I win? How do I break the curse of my family? Not realizing that at the same time, I'm also this toxic character that's coming in play, and I could destroy the same thing I'm trying to build. And when I had Braden, I was in dental school. It was crazy. But then you came. And it was that aha moment where life kind of was oh my gosh, all the sacrifices we went through, everything we went, I don't know, this is going to sound crazy, and you've heard me say this, but it was a blessing. It was all of a sudden I got hit over the head and said, life is no longer about me. It's not even about my wants and my desires. It is about you. It's about my son, Braden. It's about Zandria. It's about mom. It's nothing to do with me. Nothing. Everything you ever decide. And that's when I think you finally realize, wow, life is so much bigger than you. Even when you're doing this journey on the podcasting, it's like, this really isn't about you. It's about how we can serve people and how we can be so much better and so different. And my role in this family is, you're right, it's to be a father that hopefully you can look up to. Hopefully one day you can say, this is how I should be treated by a man. This is how much love I should get from another person or another man. And you see from your mom, this is the strength I should get from my mom. This is the power I should carry and the respect that I must deserve. So it's man, it's so humbling. I can't believe you're 20 years old and you're sitting here asking me these questions. It's so surreal right now. Like, I'm sitting here and I know there's an audience watching, and it's crazy because I feel like it's just, these are all the things I've always wanted to tell you since you've been so little. But I think that the true blessing for me isn't how much money I have. The true blessing for me is to see how successful and how much drive and passion you have. I mean, the fact that you can look up to me and mom, or look up to me and said, my dad always challenged me. You know, I think Sean said it, and Sean Anthony, you know what I'm talking about when I say Sean. Sean said this the best, and he says, you know, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it basically, like, the blessing I have is when I can pour into you and you give out, that's the greatest honor you could ever have. Knowing that you become the best version of yourself, thinking that I might have a little hope in it and you can look up to somebody, that's great, because that's something I didn't have. So when I say I wanted to break the curse of my dad or my family, maybe I did. And I just hope you pass on. I don't even know the question. I'm just talking to you because I love you. So it is what it is. Don't even remember the question.
Good. No, we did. We're good.
Sorry, I didn't answer the question. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We're answering things as we go. So a question that just kind of like just popped into my head. It's very easy for me to believe in God as this like loving father figure, because I have a super loving father. It's like really easy for me to be like, if this is how much my dad loves me and cares about me and how much my dad provides for me, that's like very easy for me to be like, God in heaven must do that and so much more. So the analogy, and not like the analogy, the truth that people use, that like God is our father in heaven, is very easy for me to comprehend. You, someone that didn't really have that loving father that was very supportive and provider, but being someone that is such a great testament to unwavering faith, how do you talk to someone that maybe doesn't have the greatest father figure and is struggling to feel that connection with God as a father? Like, how do you feel like God as a father when you didn't have a father
So
that was there?
actually, I repelled God for a long time. I was angry. When I almost lost everything, my third year in dental school, when I was broken, I'll never forget a professor, you know, I'm going to leave the professor's name out of it, but he said to me, and I was just this firecracker, dude. I won't say anything. I'll clean up what I really said.
Yeah.
I won't say it on the podcast, but I remember him saying, you know, some people just aren't meant to be a dentist. And I said, yeah, that's why you're here teaching me. And I said a different word. I thought I was going to get kicked out of dental school. I was failing everything. Like, life was just breaking apart around me. Had no money. I think your mom and I, like, there was moments where, you know, I had to borrow money from that person, or we had to eat, you know, sometimes I'd eat a cheese sandwich, for God's sakes. Like, we didn't have anything. And I wanted to quit. And your nanny left. I mean, everyone kind of was turning their back on me. Didn't have a lot of support at home. So I felt really isolated and alone. And I wasn't, but I felt isolated. So the only thing I remember I got as a gift was the Bible. And my mom gave me this gift. It was a 365-day journal Bible. And it says, you know, basically you're just supposed to read one verse a day. And I don't even know if they have them anymore, but I had it. This thing was all shredded. All I did was start reading. I just started reading. And all of a sudden, slowly, my life started getting better and better and better. I don't even know what I was reading. I couldn't even tell you what I read. I couldn't tell you what the movement was. And I started saying these different things in my head. I actually said, I am the voice. I lead, not follow. Believe, not doubt. Create, not destroy. I'm a force for good. I defy the odds. I set new standards and I step up. Now, I heard that from Tony Robbins. You know, so all I did is, I remember you talking about podcasts of people looking in the mirror. Well, instead of me looking at the mirror or me judging my life of what's wrong, I started just focus on where it is I wanted to go. I literally would close my eyes every morning and say, where am I headed? What am I doing? This is a temporary pain. This is a temporary pit. What is it that the only thing I can do is lean on faith. And I had no idea really what faith was at the time. Couldn't even tell you. So when you said when I didn't have that father figure, I only had the Bible. I was raised in a Catholic church. I had the Bible. And when I knew the power of God, when I really knew it, is when I came from the lowest of lows, about to lose everything in my life, not even graduate dental school, to slowly came and be what now, I mean, I think I'm the top 1% in my whole class, right, of my dentistry. But it all started by just leaning in the Bible. And it slowly evolved itself, and God slowly showed me who he was in my pit and in my darkness.
So, like, you would tell someone that was, like, in a similar space, like, not really understanding faith, that the way to understand who God is and how much he does, like, love them and will provide for them is just to open up the Bible, just to start reading.
Whether it's the Bible or whether, I don't like using the word the universe. A lot of people talk about, oh, the universe power. Okay, there's a power. Let's just agree there's a power. Whether I call him Christ, you call him Christ, let's say the person watching doesn't call him Christ. Doesn't matter. There's a power. There's a good, there's a light, and there's a darkness. Let's just say it the way it is, right? So to me, it's always like, if you have no hope, right? Hope, they say, is not a strategy, but hope is strength. It might not be a strategy, but hope is strength. So when you're at your weakness of weak, and you have nothing to lean on, man, ask for guidance. I think you said it in a podcast before. Yes, I stalk your podcast, and yes, I do watch everything you do. You said, you're in a hallway, and sometimes you're just in the hallway, but you have to knock on the door, or open the door. God will knock on the door. You got to open it. Can't remember how you said it in one of your podcast episodes, but you were talking about sometimes you're just in this hallway, and you're in this pit, and you're in this valley, and you got to know the truth. The truth is in the Bible. The truth's in the words, but the truth is God will. Now, if you're a woman listening to this is crazy. God tends to answer women prayers faster than men prayers, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why it is. I think God speaks of wisdom as a she, and the power comes from women, really, in the whole church, in Christ. But I think that what I would tell somebody who doesn't know what to do, start by just asking. You don't even have to call him God. You don't have to call him Christ. Start by asking and see what happens. Just start. Hey, I need your help. Can you be there? And I think you'll see some doors unravel, and he'll show us power.
No, like, that's good. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in this day and age, I don't want to say necessarily just my generation, like my generation is a huge part of this, but I think just people right now in general have such a lack of hope and faith in anything that is where a lot of our darkness and our depression and our loneliness really comes from. Because when we give ourselves hope in something bigger, it's an opportunity for us to find the good, find the light in the darkness. And I know you've had some very low moments throughout your life. You're 52. There's obviously been a lot of ups and downs through that. So after, let's say after you found your strong faith in that, how was it that having faith in we call him Jesus, how was having faith in Jesus something that was easier for you to get out of the next pit because you had that in your pocket?
First of all, there's no such thing as unwavering faith. So I think there's different seasons. I think what people have to realize, it's okay to have sometimes wavering faith. And you're going to have moments where you're like, this doesn't make sense. And, I'll paraphrase stuff in the Bible, but sometimes the burden's heavy and you're carrying a cross, and it's so hard. And I can just tell you, just 3 days ago, I was crying in my kitchen and telling your mom life gets heavy. It does. I mean, it's not going to never stop getting heavy because you'll always be attacked. You're always going to be challenged. I think, repeat the question again, because my ADHD brain. Repeat the question again, because this is real. Sometimes it's just, I have these thoughts, but just one more time, repeat the question for me.
Okay.
So I can answer directly what you want.
Yes. Let me lock in and think of it, because it came right off the dome.
I think you were talking about.
I know. So when you, you found this faith,
right.
So you hadn't been using the faith in the pits before that. So when you're in new pits, in new valleys of darkness, or go through new low moments, how do you use the faith now to help you get through?
Okay, thank you for rephrasing the question. Now I'll go right to the answer. Confidence comes when you get certain results. And so because I've overcame so many pits, I now have the confidence to keep going because I've already done it. I've already hit low points and I can get back up to a high point. You know, you see these people, you've heard it 1,000 times. There could be millionaires that lose all their money, but somehow in the next month, they're a millionaire again. Why? Because they have a faith that they can make $1 million. You know, they could have a low moment, but they get back out of it. You know, you could have a downside, but you could lean in your Bible and you can get back out of it. It's because you've already done it. And when you start producing results, and that's where you start learning trust. The word trust or confidence comes from you've already done it. So like if you said, hey, I'm going to write a book. When I first told you, hey, you should write a book, you're like, dude, there's no way I'm going to write a book. Nobody's going to listen to me. Now, if I said, hey, write another book. Oh, okay. Because you've already written the book. So faith, your journey of faith all stems in why, when you're in your pit, how do you get back to that valley or that peak? Is you just have the confidence because you've done it so many times, and you just got to rinse, cycle, and repeat. Sounds crazy, but that's what you do. Put the washer back on and rinse, cycle, wash your clothes, get back up, pull your dust off, and get back in it. Let's go. And that's all you have to do. You have the confidence to do it.
That's good. So before we move further, I've realized that we haven't really bragged about you yet. And not that we need to be bragging, but there's been a lot of fruit that God has produced in your life, and a lot of drive and determination you have had. So just a little bit about the hustler that's sitting next to me. Like, you're a dentist, but you've been a little lowballing. Like, you are one of the top, like you're the top 1% of your class, and you're the #1 dentist in Michigan, which is where we're from. You own a few Crumble Cookies. You're a franchisee. You also have multiple dental practices that you're a part of. You're an author. He wrote a book first, which is why he was very encouraging for me to do it, because he did do it first and he knew he could do it. So then he pushed me to know that I could do it as well. And you do have your own podcast, and I'm probably missing 9 side hustles. But the one that I want to mention, because we are going to touch on it, is you're currently training for an Ironman on top of all of that. And a very important note to make is that you, like we've mentioned, you didn't have like a father figure growing up, but yet you've figured out how to perfectly portray like the best earthly father that like you could be, like the best human father you could be. You have all of these things going on, but yet you've never missed a sporting event from me, Braden, or Z. You've never missed an opportunity that you could be with us instead of working. And you've put us completely above yourself throughout it all. So diving into your Ironman training, because that is your favorite hobby you're doing right now out of the 9 million things going on. Talk a little bit about how you find that strength and resilience to go work out, whether it's extremely late at night when I'm tucked into bed or extremely early in the morning when I'm still tucked into bed.
Yeah. It's real simple. I'm going to coin a phrase. I've said it my whole life. Commitment doesn't know time, it makes time.
Good. Elaborate.
When you're committed to something, there's no obstacle in the way that's going to prevent you from getting what you want. I'm committed to be a great father. So no matter what comes my way, I have to be a great father first. I'm committed to be a great husband. So no matter what comes my way, I can't sacrifice one thing for the other. People will sell their soul for money. That's wrong. Don't sell your soul for anything. Money is a vehicle, but when it comes to the Ironman, it's your mom's fault. It's 100% your mom's fault. I will say on camera, it's my wife's fault. She said to me about a year ago, I said I wanted to do an Ironman, and I was in a really, really dark point, dark depression. And I don't know if it was because of what's going on in the political world. I had no idea. I just was dark. And she says, I thought you said you were going to finish what you start. And I took that like 1,000 knives. Like, it's one thing if a friend of mine says, hey, dude, you said you're going to finish what you start. If it's a buddy, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Some random stranger says that to me. I'm like, you don't know. The minute your wife challenges you and says you're not what you say you are, it's like 1,000 knives went through my heart and pierced it. Like, it was like I just got destroyed. But she was right.
She was right.
She was right. And the sad thing is I mean, not does the truth hurt. Oh, good God, it hurts. Now, I think she wishes she would have pulled some of that back, because I've been doing this like crazy. It's like my drug, dopamine, right? It's like my hit. It's like my drug hit. Well, people will scroll on TikTok or whatever it is. My drug is not alcohol. My drug is not any other narcotic. My drug is literally, how can I push my body to the limit but be the best husband and father that I can be? That's my drug. And so I always said to myself, what's next? My only fear now, Alina, is when it's done, I'm going to have to tell myself, what's next? How do I get excited again? Because a lot of depression comes from lack of movement, right? And you're on these podcasts and you're trying to talk to people like, how are you depressed? Why do you down? Why do you have anxiety? Well, a lot of anxiety and depression comes from just a lack of, where am I going? Where am I headed? What is it that I want to do? And so there's a lack of movement. And remember, one thing I always tell you is that water is essential for life, right? What happens when water stops flowing? It becomes toxic. So the same thing that gives you life can also kill you. So I'll challenge everybody watching this. I know this is about the Ironman and it's about my journey. But to answer your question, whatever you're committed to, you'll accomplish. There'll be no obstacle, no challenge in your way is strong enough. If God will give you everything you need. Now, whether I finish Ironman, I have no idea. We'll find out November 1st, right?
Yeah,
we'll find out. But I can tell you this: I'm going to start, and that's half the battle, right?
Yeah.
But I think that when you are committed to things, and you're truly committed, you will always find a way to open things up. I can tell you this, like if you're a mother of a child, I'm not a mother, I'm a father. I can't even imagine the power of a woman, because if I feel this way, a woman is 1,000 times more this way. Somehow, some way, you always find a way to provide for your kids. If you love your children, and I know a lot of people that had 10 kids, 15 kids, 12 kids, 5 kids, 1 kid, they always eat. They always eat. You might not eat, but they'll always eat. So it's just, it goes to a level of commitment. So.
No, that's really good. That's really powerful. I also think you should use the little analogy you use about like kinetic energy, because I think that one's funny.
Science class, ready? Energy in motion stays in motion. So the biggest thing, what's the biggest rule of thumb? Don't stop moving. Yeah. Just keep moving, man. Because it is easier if you're moving. It's hard to start again. And that's where most people fail, is they just stop.
Yeah.
It's like to get that hamster wheel spinning, you got to still do it. But yes, energy in motion stays in motion.
Yes. So that's what like you always say to me, because when you get home from work super late and then you're like hanging out with us before like we go to bed, and then you go in the barn, I always like ask you, I'm like, how are you about to go work out right now? And you're like, I can't sit down. I can't sit down, Lena. I have to just stay on my feet. Energy in motion stays in motion. Which I just think is really funny, because you are a dentist. So you're very good at science. You got a nice brain, you're very smart. So that one's always like funny to me to like look at, because I sucked at science.
You didn't suck at science. It wasn't for you.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't what God was calling me to do. Chemistry was tripping me up.
Yeah.
But so when was a time in like my life when you looked at me when like I was a little kid and realized that I was a lot more like you than you kind of like expected when you're kids too? Like when you noticed like I had your drive.
I think you all uniquely have a drive in a different way, but you've always been the leader. You've always been the person who would, I guess, put themselves last. Like even on your sports teams. Like I think it was your sophomore year there's no logical reason besides you're a leader, right? It wasn't like you're the greatest athlete in the world.
Oh no, especially in basketball.
Right, but my point was you'd always challenge yourself to push beyond boundaries where everybody else would say, there's no way a sophomore is going to play varsity basketball, right? Like, why even try out? You're like, I'm just going to go try out. I'm just going to go do it. And it was like, there was no doubt in your mind you were making the team. It was crazy. Like, people could try to convince you. What are you doing? You'd be like, Sydney, you going to come or not? Because if you're not, I'm still doing it. Like, you had that there's nothing that's going to stop you from getting to where you want. And as a father, to see a child that has that ticker, and I'm like, there's nothing that's going to stop me, not any world, not any force. That's when I kind of knew, like, oh, okay. All right, this Mickey Ficky right here, this she's got a little something special in her. And then, not to mention, you always tend to finish what you say you're going to do. And you start. Now, obviously, your mom told you a year ago that wasn't me. I'm working on that.
Yeah,
so
right.
Maybe I'm learning that from you. But that's when I knew there was something special in you. You just had this little leadership role.
Well,
other than when you were the little kid and everything was, rainbows and butterflies. Everything was perfect.
Back when like life was like perfect. There wasn't a flaw.
Oh, what a beautiful day. That's what you used to say.
Beautiful day. So, leadership. What does being a leader mean to you? Because you are the leader of our house. When me, Braden, and Z look up to like a leader, like we look up to you. So what does being a leader mean to you, and what weight does it add knowing that we all look at you as a leader?
Weight? No, I don't feel a weight. I feel a responsibility. So when I'm not coming through on my end, Sometimes I yell as a dad. Sometimes I snap because life gets heavy. I feel down, like I let people down. But leadership to me is what it should be, right? Like I should be the leader in certain parts, just like your mom's the leader in the house. I might be the leader outside the house. Trust me, inside the house, we know who the leader is. That's kind of a joke that you said I'm the leader. That's funny. That's funny.
Well, it's different
But
roles.
there is a I'm so honored to have that as a responsibility. That leadership to me is strength and vulnerability at the same time. Like I'm a leader, so I cry. I'm crying on a podcast. So you know what I know? It's okay if my son cries. The world won't tell him that.
Yeah.
The world will never tell him that it's okay for a man to cry. You don't make men grow up not thinking it's okay to cry. I could care less. As a leader, I don't care what everyone else thinks of me. I think of what my family thinks of me. So if I say I'm going to cry, right, I'm going to cry. And I'll let the whole world see it. That's strength, right? A leader is going to go into a fire whether they want to or not. A leader also knows when to follow. So as a true leader, your job is to lead people, to give them the strength to be able to lead themselves someday. So I also can sit back and follow. So it's an honor. It's a privilege. It's a blessing. It's everything that I've wanted to be, a captain of a team. But what better team to lead to be a captain of than my own house?
Yeah.
Like, that's great. You know, we always see these athletes. I want to be a captain of my football team. I got an idea. Just be a captain of your house. Be the leader of your house. I mean, that's these kids watching. You know, we always wish we had the C on our jersey. We wish, and let's go, everyone. And the real reason you do it is out of ego. You want people to know on your sports team that I'm the captain, and they hold themselves up, but yet they can't lead their own life, right? So leadership is lonely. Leadership is blessings. Leadership is strength. Leadership is vulnerability. Leadership is probably the greatest blessing anybody could throw on you. As long as it's leader. Also with leadership comes a lot of responsibility. So you better hold that. Don't use that word loosely. Be the best version of yourself. And every day, you got to show up no matter what. That's why it means lonely. Sometimes you do get up at the 2 in the mornings and the 3 in the mornings and the 4 in the mornings, but it's tough. But leadership's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's what leadership means to me.
Well, no, that was very good.
Thank you.
Very well thought out. You know, so if you were my age, or I mean you were, so when you were my age, what do you like wish you would have known moving forward? Like what's something like you wish you would have known when you were my age, when you were 20?
Life's not about me.
So that like full circle moment.
It's the hardest thing ever to get out of. Like life was not about me. It never was. And I think that so many people, not just your age, live such a selfish life. And they wonder why they're not getting blessings. And they wonder why they're not getting the praise or people aren't real. It's so demonic when you think just about yourself. It is so morally wrong. Like love is love, you know, I wish I'd have realized earlier that life is never about you. It's about the difference and impact you can make in other people's lives. And if you don't have children, cool. I get it. You weren't blessed to have children? Awesome. It sucks, and I get it. Children are the greatest thing one of the greatest gifts I've ever received. But you can make a difference in a stranger's life. You can make a difference by just holding the door open. You can make a difference by buying a meal. You can make a difference by literally giving a person a tip at the restaurant when they're the lowest of lows and they're treating you like crap and they're so rotten to you, and you look right them in the face and they must be going through so much pain that instead of you portraying what you want, because trust me, there's a lot of rage in me, there's anger in me, and we talk about how sometimes you project the real pain that's inside you and you attack. That's because of the pain you're going through. I just wish I'd have learned early on, and thank God your mom taught me this lesson probably at 30, but that life's not about me.
Yeah.
That's what I'd tell a 20-year-old, man, it's not about you. You think it is, but it's not. Be the best you. Go after your dreams. Soar. Be the eagle that you were meant to be. Be the lion, the king of the jungle. That's cool. But only to give blessings to other people. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. And I like what you're saying about like love. So my favorite Bible verse is like 1 Corinthians 13. And it basically talks about like love is patient, love is kind, love does not boast, it does not end like envious, blah, 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 blah. Goes on and on and on. And I think it's like so important for us to know that the way we treat people matters. like the idea that we should be showing others so much love and care, especially when like they are kind of being hateful towards us, because like what is going on in their life that they're so hateful towards other people. So I thought that was really good. So when you were a kid, what is like one thing you wish you could have just like given yourself like a heads up about? Like when you were in a time where life just kind of looked like a plateau, like there was never going to be an incline. Like what's one thing you wish like you would have known in the way that like you could foresee the future?
Storms are temporary. All the pain, everything that you go through, that hurt, it's for a better reason. It's what you grow on. Like when you lose everything, I guess, when you've almost lost everything, without going through that pain, there's no way I'd be the person I am today. So that pain, those bruises, those cuts, those scars, the slander you get, the hate that you get from people, those are all a diamond being formed. They say a diamond doesn't form unless there's a lot of pressure. Well, most of the time, though, people don't want to be the diamond. They just want to be the piece of coal. Yeah. And they don't like the pressure. And I hate to go back to biblical sense, but you were designed for a purpose by Christ. Mm-hmm. You were designed for a reason. And when Jesus was carrying the cross, he fell down 3 times. He got whipped, he got beat. He was carrying a heavy burden. But at the end of the day, he had to get up and carry his cross to finally fill his end purpose. And he knew his purpose was to die. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe it. Can you imagine waking up, hey, by the way, at age 33, you're going to go get crucified and you're going to die and people are going to mock you, they're going to spit on you. So I think that knowing that a storm is temporary, knowing that you're going to experience pressure, but if you can embrace the journey and embrace the pressure, it all will be worth it in the end. You will be that diamond.
No, that's really good. So playing on the storms, it's literally like you almost knew my next question, which you didn't, because you told me you didn't want to know the questions. What is one storm you have gone through, and how have you found peace in the storm?
One storm, that's funny.
Okay, well, just pick one.
I think I touched on it earlier. I mean, one of the greatest storms is I almost flunked out of dental school. I mean, while everyone else is graduating dental school, full honesty, I had to take a test over, and it was hard seeing your classmates ahead of you and seeing certain things. When you were struggling to get what I want to, I didn't have the dad at home. I didn't have the financial backing. Your mom and I could barely pay the bills. Like, I did everything wrong. Don't get married when you're in dental school. I got married. Hey, don't have a kid. I had a kid. Don't work in dental school. I had to work third shift at GM, and I had to commute back and forth from Flint to Detroit Mercy, and I slept 2 hours a day for 4 years. Like, those are real. I see kids right now that can't even survive one class, but, can't even imagine the amount of work and effort and sacrifice it took to get there, not sleeping and studying. And so I failed, dude. I mean, flat out, I failed the test, and, had no money. $150,000 in debt, had to somehow come up with $10,000 to take the test again, and had to drive to Ohio State, the Buckeye hat. I mean, had to drive. And that's when I really learned about manifestation. So you're the power of your words, you're the power of your thoughts. And I said to somebody, I'm going to go buy a hat where I pass my boards. And they're like, what? I'm going to buy the hat wherever I pass my boards. So before I took my boards, I bought the hat. The night before, I bought the hat.
And you passed.
And, well, I'll tell you a really sick, sadistic secret that your mom did to me, which was funny. So Christmas Eve of 2003 was the greatest Christmas Eve of my life. But when you pass the board, you either got a big envelope or you got a small envelope. Small envelope was never good news. Big envelope was good news. Okay, so you didn't really have to open it. It was like, hey, we're so pleased to tell you. So it was Christmas Eve. I'm going shopping with your Uncle Dan, and he was doing last minute gift shopping, and your mom pulls me in, and she basically says, I got some bad news to tell you. So I started crying. So I thought I flunked again. And she goes, I'm just kidding. And she held up the envelope and passed the boards. Now, that's kind of crazy. But at the same breath, it was the greatest Christmas Eve. But no, that was the hardest struggle, because I had to keep going. Even though I didn't know how to pay for it, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if it was ever going to come to the fruition. I just had to keep grinding, because no matter what life threw at me, that wasn't my end goal. I had to keep finishing. It's not going to be easy. It's never going to be easy. It's not easy being a dentist, and people will attack you. It's not easy being an author. People are going to say stuff about you. It's not easy to go up here on a podcast. People are going to judge you. that you're going to get haters no matter what you do. It's not going to be easy. If people think it's going to be easy, that's why only 1% of the people do it. It's not easy. You're going to be uncomfortable. So, I mean, that was a tough lesson to learn, but I learned it.
Yeah, and where'd you find peace through that?
The other end, man. Once you, and then that, to trigger your old question, how did you know that when you go through a pit again, you're going to get through it? Because I've gone through 100 pits. I might go through 101. Great number in our family. But just know that, if I'm going to challenge a kid or an adult, anybody watching this, anybody that's struggling with their spiritual faith, their journey, whatever it is, we're meant to go through pain. I was talking to a gentleman today. There's a reason why cows run and buffaloes go through it. Be a buffalo.
Yep.
Go ahead and go to the storm. Go to the dark side. Go right through it, because I promise you the storm's going to pass either way. You're going to try to run from it. It's going to catch up to you. Or you might as well just go through it, full head down and go do it. You know what I mean?
Yes. No. 100%.
All right.
Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for letting me be the first guest ever on one of your podcasts. This is amazing.
This episode, and want to know how you can keep in touch with what's going on in Dr. Grossi's life. He's going to let you guys know how to keep in touch with him.
It's at Bobby Grossi DDS on Instagram. I'm an Instagram guy, not a TikTok guy. Or you can go to thedentistco.com. And coming soon will be the Iron Dentist podcast.
Yeah, and that's going to tie into your Ironman journey alongside of dentistry, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that real fast.
Well, basically what it is look at, it's called, more of it should be the iron will, and how not only being a dentist, but being a dad, being a husband, being a father, how you have to have an Iron Man mentality. It says in the Bible that iron sharpens iron. And I knew one day I had to become iron. But I want to teach other dentists, especially struggling in the mental health space, where it's the number 2 suicide job in the world. I want to teach them how, just with faith, with a little bit of hope and a little bit of drive, with a little iron will, you can be the best of you.
That's going to be super cool and amazing. So again, if you guys like today's episode, go ahead and like and share it. If you think someone should watch this, or you have a dad you want to send it to, please go ahead and do that as well. If you would like to leave a 5-star review, I would greatly appreciate it. You can either watch these podcasts on YouTube or find us on any other streaming source. Don't forget to grab your umbrella, and I'll see you guys next time. Hi guys, it's Andelina Storm with Peace in the Storm podcast. If you've been liking the podcast so far and you want to dive deeper into it, I wrote a book called Sanity in the Storm, where you can find the things we've been talking about in so much more detail. It can be linked below in the show notes, or you can find it at www.sanityinthestorm.com. Thanks.